Welcome everybody to the PTA Inspire series. I love doing this with students who have been in my coaching program because it's just really, they all have different stories and they've all been on different journeys. And I think that every single one of them has something to offer the PTA community to show that you can pass this exam regardless of your circumstances and you can get across the finish line. And there is hope, there is a finish line, and you will get there. So today I'm joined with Erica. Do you want to introduce yourself, Erica?
Hey guys, I'm Erica. Um, just a little bit about me. I've been out of PTA school now 3 years. That's crazy. So I took a kind of step back. I failed my exam twice. No big deal, really. I just wasn't in a good spot, didn't really know what I was doing. And then yeah, here I am. I have a beautiful son. He just turned 6 months old, and my whole perspective kind of changed. So that's just a little bit about me before we get into some of the questions.
Yeah, so Erica's a new mom. She's been out of school for a little bit. So I'm sure a lot of people can identify with that, especially going through big life changes, even just getting married or something like that, or moving is a huge life change that definitely will derail your trying to pass the board. So I'm super excited to do this one. Erica's actually local where we've become good friends over this process, and I'm really excited to hear more about the story because every time I do these, I keep telling people every time I do these I learn new things about people, and it's going to be crazy because I've known Erica since 2019. I'm going to find out new things about her. It's going to be wild. So with that being said, tell us a little bit before we get into the whole crazy stuff. Why did you decide to become a physical therapist assistant? Tell us a little bit more about how you decided that that's the career you wanted for yourself.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's a long one, so bear with me. I basically tore my ACL my senior year of high school. This is gonna age me so much, 2014. But I did before that I was like, yes, nursing, like I'm gonna go into nursing. And then I realized how much blood and goo and yeah, not my thing. Followed a nurse. I was like, absolutely not doing that. So with tearing my ACL, I ended up in physical therapy myself, and basically was like, how do I do this? How do I get into what you're doing? Like, I want to do that. So I got accepted into East Stroudsburg University's exercise science program, and I attended there for 2 years, and I was miserable. You guys know, if you're heading into the doctorate of physical therapy route, your GPA is so crucial to getting into a higher program. And with being homesick and not really knowing who I was at that point, I decided I needed to transfer because my GPA was pretty much shot. I was in the gutter and I was just homesick. I was depressed. I was going through some stuff mentally. And so I packed up after my sophomore year at East Stroudsburg and I came home, not really knowing what I was going to be doing. So I was like, I still want to be in school. I really enjoy learning. But I need a different atmosphere. So I am in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area, and I looked at HAC, which is our area, Harrisburg Area Community College, and I just didn't have a vibe for the campus. I really did still like that campus feel. And so I applied late into Penn State Harrisburg, which is in Middletown, which is 25 minutes from my house. And so I moved home. I got accepted. They had actually just opened a new program there, which was kinesiology, and that was still in the PT route. So I transferred home. I got into that program. I actually learned a lot in that program. Even though it was brand new and I was the first graduating class with that program, I had a really small core group of friends that really helped me get my GPA turned around. And so here comes senior year, and I had opened up the kinesiology club for that campus. I was the president of that, and I was getting that's boring stuff, but so I just felt really proud of where I was at with Penn State, and I was like, I think I could go further with this. Let me apply to DPT schools. So I got into Alon in North Carolina, and oh my gosh, I forget, there was another school down south, but my boyfriend proposed and I got engaged, and it just wasn't really a good time in my life for me to like move away. Like I was ready for marriage, I was ready for family, I was ready for settling down. So I opted to get married instead. And I then came across Central Penn College, and that's when I was like, oh, PTA. Okay, like that's still manageable. I can still work as a physical therapist and treat patients and have a good life doing that. And it's still very much that same clinic atmosphere. And I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. So I actually applied with a friend who was also looking in that same route, and we both got into Central Penn together. And yeah, that's where I met Bree. It was awesome. Never forget some of those classes. Whew. As I'm sure you guys know, like central, like any PTA program, like getting in and like maintaining those grades was not easy by any means. So yeah, that's kind of like how and then also like just being in like my PTA program and meeting friends that like wanted to do the same thing and like developing like relationships and establishing like networks with our professors and like learning about different like genre, and I guess I call them genres, specialties now they're known. But yeah, so just kind of figuring out like your wave in PTA school. And I treat general, like I'm all over the map. You name it, I'll treat it. Like I love it so far. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into PTA instead of DPT. So long road we
I'm
got
sure
there.
some other people, I mean, I've heard other people who've had the same sort of thing happening. And that's what's great about being a PTA. Like you can immediately just start your life. Like it doesn't take this long, crazy road,
Yeah.
like what we had, a year of didactic and then went to clinicals and boom,
Yep.
keep on going. So, I mean, for
Yeah.
you and like what Erica failed to mention is that our cohort got slammed with COVID right as we were taking our therapeutic exercise and neuroscience classes. So that was fun. So
Oh yeah,
that
we ended up online, so we did miss out on a lot of like the hands-on. I feel like that's kind of what put a damper on like our experience, because like whereas like we would have been like in the classroom like learning how to manually maneuver patients with a stroke or anything like that, like we really missed out on that opportunity. So that's kind of where like I hit a bump in the road in like that part of the education, but here we are. So
we made it. It's all good. Everything's
we
good.
made it.
Yeah. And PTA school, as we both know, is not easy by any means. I think I still to this day, the only like practical I ever cried at was that acute care one we had to do together. Because she was
We
staring
literally
us
sweat
down.
all over each other.
It
Yeah.
was so
She was like,
bad,
guys,
but we made it. And that's the thing too, guys. A
we,
little bump in the road does not derail your entire life. You can I think I almost failed that practical, but like it's all
yeah,
good. It's all good. We make it
yeah,
across the finish line. But yes, I think it wasn't right then. It was when afterwards she's like, you guys all did terrible. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
yep.
So
Yeah, she wasn't like blaming like you're awful, but it was like, yeah, it was a close fail. I was like, oh,
ooh.
sorry.
But
But
it's all good and we all made it out the other side. So just like speaking of just like different obstacles and stuff like that, what do you feel like was the biggest obstacle
yeah.
for you like during we kind of touched on PTA school, but like what was also the biggest obstacle for you when you started studying for the boards?
Oh gosh. Whew. There's a long list. So I already had this mental block because I am so bad at taking tests. Like taking tests just increase my anxiety, get my heart rate up. Like, and I always like went in with the mindset like I'm already so bad at this. Like this is just not gonna work out in my favor. I am just I can't even think straight. Like I would just get in there and I would get so flustered. I would start like shaking my legs and like sweating. The palms were going, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like having heat flashes. Like I just would get in that negative mindset. So that was like a huge block for me, even throughout school. Like, and then when it came time to like studying for the boards the first two times, thank you. Sorry, I got a package delivered. um, but so studying for my boards the first two times, I was in that negative mindset. I was living with my in-laws, and then my husband's grandmother moved in with us because she was kind of at end of life care on hospice, and we couldn't afford for her to stay in a nursing home. So we just took it upon ourselves. And I was like, hey, I'm in finishing up PTA school. Like, this will be a great hands-on opportunity with a family member. And so I took over her care basically. Like, we got rid of hospice. I bathed her twice a day. I washed her butt. I wiped her butt. I took her to the bathroom. I fed her. I got her in and out of bed. I did exercises talking with my old professors about what can I be doing to help her keep her strength. I actually have a couple occupational therapy friends, so I had them come over in their off time and help me. Like, we used the putty spoons and like tried to get her just to keep moving. And then her dementia came in full swing. And so after the first time I had taken my boards, I knew walking out of my boards there was no way that I passed that exam. I was not in the good headspace that I should have been, and I just didn't study. I was cocky. I was like, yeah, I'm working in a clinic, I'm working at home, like on top of this, taking care of a family member. I don't need to study. I got all this. And then I took the exam and I was like, nope, no way. No way. And then I'll never forget, like, all my classmates, like, we had I think it was a group me chat going, and they were like, guys, results are up. And I was like, I'm like, I don't even need to look. I failed. Like, I know I failed. And I came across the email. I didn't even look that night. I was like, nope, I'm just gonna go to bed. I just know it's not good. I had a job offer and I was like, I already know, like, I want to have to tell them, like, look, I didn't do it. I didn't get there. So I looked actually at work the next day with the excuse me, center manager that offered me the job. And I said, hey, look, like, I'm opening this with you. Like, there was the big red X. And I was like, nope, sorry. Like, I'm not accepting the job, obviously. Like, I lost my temp license. So there was the one that was like my major roadblock, because then I just like got in this mindset, like, how the heck am I going to take this a second time? I'm still taking care of my grandmother in law. So I was just like, not happening. So, second time, I did change my approach a little bit. I did study. I set only, like, that was my problem. I did 2 hours a day, only 5 days a week, because I was like, I still deserve to have weekends. I still deserve to do time, like, for me, which you do in your studies. If you hit a wall and you feel like you need a mental day, like, take it. Like, take that mental day. Like, yes, you have this study guideline set up for 12 weeks, 8 weeks, however long you take to study. But if you are in that study pattern and you feel like you have hit a mental roadblock, take it from me. Like, take that break, because I pushed myself. And I pushed myself, but I still took my weekends. And I feel like if I just gave myself a day rather than a whole weekend, like, the information would have stuck a little better. So that was like another roadblock. So I took it again, and his grandmother had unfortunately passed away a week before my exam. And I was like, Graham would want me to do this. Like, I need to take this exam. And I just, not even like, I knew she was coming to the end of life. So I kind of, like, the last month, it was more like blase with my studying. I didn't really study again for a whole month before the exam, which I do not recommend, because it didn't work out in my favor that time either. And I was like, after that time, I would literally, I think I had gotten COVID. Actually, yeah, I did. And I was in bed and I already felt like crap. And I got the email that my results were in. And I looked and it said failed. And although I did improve from the first time I took it and I only failed by 1 point, I still failed. And I was just like, this is it. Like, I'm never going to be a PTA. I'm never going to get through. And so I was like, that's it. I'm going to take a break. So I got a job working with ice cream. Yes, it sounds cool. It's not, especially when you know, like, you're meant to be working with people. And funny story, I was grocery shopping with my husband one day and I ran into one of my old professors. And that's when she told me that Bree was doing this program. So that's when I messaged Bree and I was like, hey, like, I know we went to school together. Like, is there any way like I could get into your program? Like, I want this so bad at this point. Like, I'm so tired of being like where I'm at in life. I want to feel like I'm fulfilling myself. And so, yeah, I hit Bree up and here I am. So, biggest roadblocks were not studying and being cocky. I don't recommend. And also studying, but then like a year before, or a month before, I was like more lazy with it, like didn't really care again. So please like stick to your study plans, but also it is important to have a mental break in between. So if you can't have it in your schedule, like I don't know if this leads into another question, Brie, sorry, but like in my study plan, I studied for 3 months. I gave myself a day where it was a lighter study day. And if on that lighter study day, I felt like, hey, like I'm not really doing anything good here for myself, I took a day and I flip flopped it with my break day. So, like, I would do my break then and I would push that lighter study day to later in the week whenever my break day was. So, please do yourself a favor, study, adhere to Bree's program. It works. I am here to say that it does. And if you have a child, like use them as a motivation because my son, Carson, 6 months old, and they are busy, 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 but he, you can hear him in the background. But he is like my saving grace, and I do like give him and Bree a lot of my credit to like getting to where I am. Yeah.
Girl, it was all you. We're just here to help you. We're just extra motivation along the way. It's all you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Wow. Like that's a lot of stuff. I didn't know. I knew about your grandmother passing away, but I didn't know like you were like the primary caregiver and everything. So I'm sure with all of that experience, at least you had some things to reference on. And that's crazy. See, I learned new things about everybody. This is insane. And now you're here. Hi, buddy.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I have to push him in the swing again.
That's okay. That's how I was when I was a little baby. My mom said she had to keep like resetting my jumper while she was working next to me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
then I kept moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's amazing. And I'm sure a lot of people will relate to at least some of your struggles. And yes, I love that what you said about your child, because I mean, I don't have kids, but I understand that kids take up a lot of time, just like anything else in your life that's like a major responsibility. But the unique thing about them is that like this is like a person that you made, that you brought into the world. So like using them as motivation is so key, because a lot of times people say I can't do it because I have kids. I'm like, no, the reason why you can do it is because you have a kid.
Yes. Yep. Like I think like when I was pregnant, obviously, like, well, I tried to take him in January and then I ended up getting denied because I had gone before the board in Pennsylvania state. I don't know how it is in multiple states, but or different states, but in Pennsylvania, you have to go before the board of physical therapy to present your study plan to get it approved or denied in order for you to take your third attempt. And so, like, I didn't get approved for January because I didn't do that because I was like, oh, let me just try and see. Like, maybe they'll forget about it because of COVID, whatever. But they denied me, and honestly, like that setback was probably a blessing in disguise because I literally had given birth to my son in November, and my exam was January, and I was running on maybe 2 hours of sleep a night. And to take an exam under no sleep was not a good idea. And so he was April, so 2 months ago, he was 4 months old, and I had a lot more help. He was on a stable schedule. I was getting sleep. I was able to feel like a little bit more like myself again. And like I just told myself, like, I don't want my son to look at me. Not that he ever would, but I don't want my son to look at me and be like, my mom went to college. Why isn't she doing what she's meant to do? And I want to be that example for him where my mom's a physical therapist assistant. Yeah, it took her some time, but my mom persevered through all of that. And my mom showed me what hard work is. And my mom showed me what it is to be better for not only others, but for yourself as well. And you do have to be selfish as a parent sometimes. Like, you do have to, as much as I would have loved to cuddle him 4 hours a day after I got off work, that was 4 hours that I could have used studying. So I literally took it as my snuggles with him are in the middle of the night when he needs me most. And those 4 hours after work were my time to do my 20 minutes on and 20 minutes off to do my studying session. I know, buddy, I'm sorry. But yes, so if you're a parent and you're listening to this, I know I'm jabbering on, but please, 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 please do this for you. Like, you did not go through that entire program or fail one exam not to do this for you. Like, I cannot emphasize enough, like, doing what I'm meant to be doing, I am more present for not only myself, but for my son and for my family. And I am 10 times happier than what I was doing. Like, it is no effort to go to work now. I wake up and I go to work, and I actually cried my first week because I was like, wow, this is what it feels like to truly, truly be happy in what you're doing. And as a parent, like, you're happy being a mom, you're happy being a dad, but doing what you love and then coming home to doing again what you love, like, it just makes life so effortless. It really does. So I can't do it for you. Do it for you. Be a selfish parent. You deserve to do whatever you want to do in life. And if a baby or multiple babies or older kids, or you just like feel like you hit a snag in the road, like you're now an empty nester, even, like, now's the time. Do it. No more excuses. Like Bree says, that's what I was doing. And I stopped making excuses in my study plan. And here I am. So, yeah, sorry. I talk a lot.
No, that's okay. There's somebody out there that just listened to that. That's like, she's right. I need to do this and I need to make the decision. Because as I was listening to before, like on a podcast, like, you're one decision away from either making everything be everything you ever dreamed of, or one decision away from being absolutely miserable and ruining everything. So I think we know,
Yeah.
the people listening to this, they know what decision they need to make. And it helps hearing it from somebody who is a mom, who has a kid, who's been studying with a newborn, like, that knows how struggle for, because I can tell them all the time, like, you can do it, blah, 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 but I've never been in their shoes before, and you have. So it's better coming from you. Yeah.
It's definitely hard, but like I said, like, there's just nothing like it being able to, like, knowing that I raised him now and like I could do it. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, you have to be selfish in those situations, especially if you're like, well, they already did the hard part by like reaching out and like paying for the course. Like, you just can't keep making that excuse. If you truly wanted it, you obviously wanted it enough to reach out. So why keep making an excuse saying that, like, my kid's stopping me? Like, no, you're stopping yourself. Like, your kid is there as a support, whether they are 2 months old, 3 months old, 4 months old, 12 years old, 18 years old. Like, they will be proud of you no matter what. So you just have to put one step at a time, take one step at a time, and you'll get there eventually. It just have patience, because it is hard, but kids are worth it. Being a PTA is worth it. I love it. Right, buddy? Baby, love it.
Hi, buddy. Look how cute he is. He's so cute. Hey, buddy. Yeah, that's awesome. You're listening to this on a podcast. Erica's baby's on camera. He's a cutie. That's awesome. That's amazing. And I'm so proud of you. I think I've told you that like multiple times. Like, I'm so proud of you, especially like knowing what we went through and then seeing you on the other side. Like, I get so proud of everybody. It's great. I'm getting emotional. I always cry during these. Like, I just get so proud of everybody, but it's okay. We'll hold off on that. But so what? No, we can't both be crying on here. That's not good. Like, only one of us can be in the cry boat.
Oh gosh.
But
I know.
at least it's happy tears this time and not our cute care one. Oh my gosh, that was like gate training with assistive devices in like a hospital setting with like a hospital bed and everything, and transfers out of it. It was terrible. And I had the same sort of competency in PT school, and I'm not gonna lie, like, what we did in PT school was just get them out of bed, and then we had a second competency for walking. So like in PTA school, having both in the same one, like I'm telling you, like my PTA school competencies were so much harder than what we're doing in PT school. So if anybody's like, my comps are hard, don't worry, they're harder than the PT school people. So feel proud of yourself when you pass them. But no,
Oh,
this is amazing. So can I ask you a couple questions about like what do you feel like was most helpful for, like you said, your 4 hours of study you did 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. So like what did your study schedule look like with yourself, and then like what you were using inside of the course? Like how did the course material or what was going on inside my course? Because some people are like, what happens in there? Like what was going on that
yeah.
helped you the most with the course?
So I loved, absolutely loved. I, at the end of the day, actually, I think I planned it every week whenever we had group calls and there was like a potential to play Kahoot. I would go on school and I would look and see like what was the like the highest rated category after a day, because usually after they're posted a day, some people like didn't participate, which was fine. That was their choice. I would look at those Kahoots, and then if my study plan had that either like the week after or 2 weeks after, even, I would switch what I was studying. So like if I was studying cardio and everyone voted integumentary on Kahoot, I would switch those weeks. Your study plan is there for a plan, yes, but I made it adaptable to what we were going to be doing in group study sessions or like questions that people ask. Like I made sure that like either the day before or 2 days before that I was looking and reading what was going on in the community. And then I also would go back and watch your videos on those specific topics as well and in those categories, because that's what gave me the confidence going into like Kahoots or group calls or like even like helping other people in the study program answer questions. So I was adaptable, and that might work for me and that might not work for somebody else, but I feel like you have to be adaptable in a clinic, so why not be adaptable in your study plan? And that's what really helped me. I also really loved like the last minute review session. That's something that I didn't attend before. I mean, this is my first time in the study program, but I never attended the big calls. So like your group reviews, I would always just watch the replays. Yes, the replays help, but I'm telling you, the live and being there in person is what really changed it for me. And like I remember like so vividly, I was texting Bree right after we did the last minute review Kahoot, and that was like the major one right before the exam. And I like failed it. I did not do well at all. I was like getting almost every question wrong. And I was like, oh my gosh, Bree, I'm going to fail my boards. Like, I need to postpone my boards. Like, this is not going to go well. And I will say, like, Bree challenges us, but it is so worth it. Cause, like, even though I got those questions wrong, I reviewed them and I went back and I was like, oh, I can now understand why I was wrong. And it doesn't matter if you still have questions on it. Like, just message Bree about it, or message a classmate that or a person that you've gotten close with in the group, because that's what helped me. I honestly just stuck to Bree because I know Bree. But I did make sure to like participate in the groups itself, because there's nothing better than like having people that are going through the same situation and then you being able to help not only them understand, but then it also helps you work through it too. So that's kind of what I did. I made my study plan adaptable. I changed a day if I was feeling like I'm not really retaining anything. I have so much other stuff on my mind, or I had a bad day at work. Like I would just change my break day, and I stopped making excuses and I started attending the lives, because the lives, just being there and being able to ask a question if I was confused on a topic right then and there. And then looking back on Bree's sectional videos that she does, like she doesn't do this just to do this. Like she takes the time to really go over in depth each topic, and then having the questions that are board related at the end of every section. Like that is that is the key. Like that is the ticket. And honestly, that's what helped me, just being adaptable and like making sure I was reviewing like the topics that people were wanting to discuss in the calls beforehand.
I'm glad all that helps. Yeah. I like getting everyone's feedback because I want to make sure I keep making it better and better. And if it's working, well, I ain't gonna change it if it's working. So that's
Yeah,
that's
girl.
awesome. So what Erica's referencing is that
Yeah.
inside of both of my programs, everybody has access to a community of other people who are taking the exam at the same time. So it's kind of like almost like a Facebook feed, but like it's not on Facebook. It's on a community called school.com. And it's to get everybody off of Facebook. So when you go there, you're just doing NPTE stuff, communicating with people. You can message people on there. It's just a whole community of people. I think we're up to like over 90 people now, which is great. And
That's awesome.
it's amazing. And I love that we have such a great group of people. And then we have, for the coaching program, we have coaching calls, we play Kahoot, and I break down every single question. Cause I really think, like, as Erica said, like, if you're getting a bunch of questions wrong, I would rather you get a bazillion questions wrong while you're studying and then learn from your mistakes. Honestly, get embarrassed that you get a question wrong and like feel the embarrassment and the shame of yourself getting it wrong. So then you know the answer, you never get it wrong again. That's what worked for me. Like I would literally, and I don't know if this is healthy, I would like shame myself and be like, oh, like I wouldn't call myself a dumb, but I'd be just like, I can't believe you missed that. You know this, like you're better than this. Like don't ever miss that again. Like, and like I was emotionally attached to making sure I got the right answer, that like when it popped up on my boards, I was like, yeah, I'm not falling for you again. I got this. So I'd rather you make a bazillion mistakes while studying and like fail every single Kahoot, but then learn from your mistakes and pass the exam. Like that's really what I asked for with my students. Cause like, I mean, Erica even said at one point, she's like, should I even be taking this exam? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the board would not have approved you to sit for this if they didn't think you could do it. Like you got this.
Yep. And that was a big thing too, like using them as my motivation. Like I'm not gonna let you like prove myself wrong. Like I can do this. You already approved me to do this, so like I'm gonna prove you wrong. Like yes, it took me 3 tries, but you're gonna be danged if I do this again. Like I'm completely changing my perspective on it all. Like I got this. So yeah, just keep the mindset is like you getting in your head is the biggest downfall, and that's like my huge thing is like I am so in my head all the time. Like even now, like I'm constantly in my head, and they're always like in the clinic yelling, Erica, you know this stuff, like you are fine, like you just do what you know how to do. So that just get out of your head too. All right, I have to grab my son quick, sorry. Okay, perfect.
All right, so baby taken care of, everything is good. Things happen, but it's all good. So first thing, like this is the second to last question because I feel like you've pretty much answered the last question, but we will get back to that. How'd you feel when you opened up the FSBPT and saw that you passed?
Oh my gosh, so it's so funny because I was on second shift that week, and I was like, I'm so gonna find out before I head into work, and I can like totally hand in my 2 weeks right then and there and be like, see ya. So I was in the parking lot, in because it was like a beautiful day outside. We had like a gorgeous like tease of a heat wave in Pennsylvania, and it happened to be that week that we were gonna find out. And I just was like, it's not up yet. Bree said it's not going to be up for another day, but let me just look because I'm getting anxious. And, I kind of just looked, and I was on FaceTime with my husband, and I was like, oh my God. And I immediately started crying. I am an emotional person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So anything makes me cry. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I immediately texted Bree, and I was like, I did it. I was like, yay. Oh my gosh, I was freaking out. And then I was like, okay, bye, husband, I love you. Bye bye. I gotta call my mom and dad. And I like calls galore went out. And I just like, it was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Like, I can't even tell you like the feeling because, like, I mean, you'll know it when you go through it because you're all gonna go through it. But it was just like, you finally got to where you needed to be. And like you are going to be doing, you are going to be doing exactly what you are meant to be doing. And you will never, other than continuing eds, which are nothing compared to the boards, you will literally have nothing to worry about. Like you are set. You met your calling. And sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional. But you like made yourself proud. Like you did it. And it's like there's nothing better than it. Sorry. Um yeah, it's a great feeling. And then you get to celebrate, and you get to look for a job if you don't already have one lined up, and you get to kind of just feel like your own person. And there's nothing like daunting about it. Then like you get your official license in the mail for exactly 3 weeks later for me, and that's just like a whole nother level of excitement too. Like it's all over again. Like, yeah, like I literally printed I printed out the picture of my green check mark and it said pass, and I literally put it on. We had lockers at work, and I put it on my locker, and I was like, peace out, y'all. Like, I'm getting out of here, like kind of in their face, because I was just so happy. And it's like there's you deserve to be happy at that point. Like you work so hard for it, so hard for it. And again, like I was constantly in that negative mindset, and I went into this, and Bree, that stuck with me so much in your program was writing on your paper, you are worthy, is like the that was what helped me the most, because I finally felt worthy of this profession. And I still feel worthy of this profession because it just changes your life. It really does. And yeah, I'm such a sap, but Bree helped so much. Like all the hours of studying that feel like it's never going to end, and all of the I don't understand this, like it's just not clicking, and the constant questions and the self-doubt, like it all goes away. That green check mark is whew, the best green check mark I'll ever get in my life. So yeah, thanks, Bree.
I didn't mean to make you
Man.
cry, but I think it's good, because you should always keep celebrating, because and like you should feel worthy, and that's what I always tell everybody. Like
Yeah,
nobody would have accepted you into PTA school if they didn't think that you could do this. Like you get accepted because they think that you're going to be, first of all, that you're smart enough to pass the classes, and that you would be good with people, which is literally all that you need to pass. And they wouldn't accept you if they didn't think that. So that's why I tell my classmates all the time too. I have to tell myself that sometimes. I'll sign my name like Dr. Briana PT DPT, like if I start to feel like I'm not worthy, because I mean I still suffer from like imposter syndrome as well. Sometimes I'm like, am I even worthy of helping all these people pass the boards? And I realize, if not me, who? And I think a
yeah,
lot of people,
exactly.
like I always tell them, like, there are patients out there waiting to be treated by you, and like if not you, then who else? Who would do it? So anybody who's feeling like they're not worthy or anything, understand that these feelings are always normal, and that they're feelings of like that imposter syndrome stuff. But I heard someone say one time that the only people who have imposter syndrome are successful people. If you're not a successful person, you don't have imposter syndrome. Like, and it's just like, that's what it means. And so that's what I keep telling people, and that you can do it. And it's hard, but it's worth it, as you said. And I'm sorry for you to get emotional, but I mean, like it's raw. This is real life, guys. This is real life, and we should all celebrate and cry and scream and whatever. Like I think, like did you put in your 2 weeks when you found out your results? Like you just went in and put your 2 weeks in?
So I literally I wrote my 2 week letter in the locker room at work on my break, and then I called off the next day, because like once you put your 2 weeks in, you can't call off. So I used my last call off day, and I like celebrated with my family and friends, and then I went into work the next day and handed my boss my 2 weeks, and I was like, sorry, not sorry, I'm leaving. And she was like, oh my, she was happy for me, but also sad at the same time. But I was like, I'm not.
You're like, I'm out of here. Like, this is not.
Like, yes, this is not it. Like, this is not the end all be all. So you can do it, people. It's literally the greatest feeling in the world. I mean, even if you are working in a clinic while you do it, like to put your 2 weeks in as a technician, like that's still going to be like an amazing feeling, or an OCS, like whatever you're doing in a clinic, like no matter what it is, even if you're on a temp license, to like no longer have that temp license, like that 2 weeks, whew, great. It's a great feeling.
I was wondering if you would do that. I was like, I saw your thing, and I was like, I guarantee, because I knew what hours you were working, and I was like, I guarantee she's 1 or 2 weeks in. I
sure did.
There you go. That's awesome. That's smart, using the last call off day. Not condoning being a slacking employee by any means, but do that. And I think what was funny was literally right after that happened, and you were like put in your 2 weeks and everything, I had a lift test at the place I was working for the same company that you were at, and you're like, they can have it, I'm out of here.
Yep. I remember that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious, but take it. It's all yours.
Take it out.
Oh
That was a
man.
weird one too. It was like they had to like, I don't know. There were some weird things, but we'll get into that later. So just to kind
Yeah.
of wrap up everything, what is like the one piece, or you can have a list of advice you would give any student who's like studying for the boards right now, and preparing to take the NPT?
Oh my goodness, there's a list. But my biggest thing is like, do not put yourself into this category of cannot, will not, and will never. Keep yourself into I got this, I can, and I will. And at the end of the day, like you have to make yourself proud. Like this is about you. This is about no one else. So no matter if your friend's son, sister's wife passed or failed before you, do this for solely you and only you. Like this is something that you obviously have worked very hard for. So just keep doing this for you. Don't get into that negative mindset and make sure you focus on yourself wholly and fully. Yeah, you guys got this. You're gonna do so great. I can't wait to see you guys all in the clinic, like being coworkers, or well, not really my clinic. It's only me and a PTA, me and a PT, but maybe other clinics. Maybe we'll see each other at continuing eds. Who knows? It'll be great.
There you go. You heard it. So Erica, where can they find you if they want to like contact you about any questions they may have specific to your journey?
Yeah, so I can actually send Bree my work email, but it so she can like write it in a caption or something so you guys have it. But it's ESROMBERGER at dreyerpt.com. That's my email. Again, I'll give that to Bree so she has it. And then I am on GroupMe if you want to do that, or you can Facebook me, Erica Romberger. I pretty much answer anything. Do you still use Boxer, Bree?
Um, I do for my stuff, yeah,
Okay.
but that's me.
I still have that app, so yeah. So if I don't know
Do you
if
have
you can
Instagram?
find me on there, maybe. Yeah, Instagram too. Oh gosh, Erica Romberger, look me up. It's like erom10 or esrom10. One of those. I always either have my middle initial or I'm weird. I change it up all the time.
It's Erica
But yeah,
Romberger.
so
Search it
Instagram,
up.
Erica Romberger. Yep, look me up. I can help you guys answer any questions. Give you how I studied, even more in depth if you want. Yeah, so I am here at your disposal, just like Bree is, but rely on Bree's program. She knows how to study better than I do. So just really, really hone into what you need to study and go for it. Shoot for the stars because clearly they're in reach. I did it. So can you.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you, Erica. And if you guys are interested in learning more about our prep courses, you can go to our website, ptaelevation.com. And if you click on NPT prep materials or resources, it's one of those two names. You will see all the things we have to offer to help students with studying and passing the exam. So take care, everybody, and we will see y'all soon.